Now I want to discuss non-compliances of fire risk assessors. Now, data from the English Fire and Rescue Service suggests that the main compliance failure leading to enforcement action is a failure by duty holders or responsible persons to carry out a suitable and sufficient fire risk assessment. As you can see here, 43% in total were unsatisfactory. Hospitals 39%, schools 40%, hotels 51%, licensed premises 52% and 44% from care homes. That is diabolical. That is how many have not been identified as being suitable and sufficient. Now, it is suggested that it would be helpful for those who want the services of a commercial fire risk assessor to be able to gain access to information on the level of competence of these risk assessors to help them comply with the legislation. Now, as a result of these concerns, the Fire Risk Assessment Competency Council produced the Core Competency Standard. This is a benchmark for fire risk assessors to be measured against. Its objective has been to establish agreed industry-wide criteria against which the competency of a fire risk assessor can be judged. It is anticipated that these criteria will be used by professional bodies and third-party certification bodies who register or certificate fire risk assessors and by commercial companies providing fire risk assessment services. So what is a competent fire risk assessor? A person is regarded as competent where they have sufficient training and experience or knowledge and other qualities to enable them properly to implement their role. Now, in the case of simple premises where the fire risk assessor might, for example, be an employee of the occupier, it is possible that the following attributes of a fire risk assessor might be sufficient in conjunction with a study of suitable guidance documents. At the very least, they should have an understanding of relevant current best fire safety practices in premises of the type in question, an awareness of the limitations of the fire risk assessor's own experience and knowledge, and a willingness and ability to supplement existing experience and knowledge when necessary by obtaining external help and advice. For example, fire safety in blocks of flats. Well, this is a special risk. Anyone carrying out fire risk assessments in these types of buildings needs to understand the complexities and be able to apply them in carrying out a suitable and sufficient fire risk assessment in these types of premises. What is likely to happen in the industry is that only those who can show they are competent will be allowed to carry out fire risk assessments in these types of premises. An NVQ competence-based qualification for fire safety in blocks of flats is being produced and will be offered by approved centres. And those who wish to carry out fire risk assessments in these premises would be advised to complete this NVQ, as I feel the housing associations will only appoint those who can demonstrate competence. What about fire safety in heritage buildings? Well, heritage buildings pose significant special risks, such as they generally find they have poor passive protection and reduced passive fire safety systems. Now, these risks are different from most modern buildings, and the risk assessor should understand these risks and be able to advise on appropriate improvements that are required. For historic buildings, it is of paramount importance that a well-structured and properly implemented fire safety management plan accompanies the fire risk assessment. In fact, it is recognised in approved document B that the most appropriate means of ensuring life safety in an historic building with respect to fire is to take into account a range of fire safety features and set these against an assessment of the hazard and risks peculiar to that particular case. Now, an essential component for heritage buildings is management. In other words, how the management can reduce the risk.